We're in California again. This is the end of our Pacific Northwest loop. We're on our way back down. Do you guys see the snow way on top of that mountain over there?
That's not a mountain, it's a volcano.
What do you think it is, Maple?
A snow mountain, volcano, burgers, butt, booty.
We're going into California. At the end of our Pacific Northwest loop, we got back down into California just in time for Halloween. And that was great because we got to spend Halloween with Grandma. Linden was a peacock, Maple was a ladybug, and Olive was a fairy. And we went trick-or-treating at Grandma's house and Grandpa's house, and then we trick-or-treated around Grandma's neighborhood. Look at me, guys. Look at me, Mape. So sweet. We're gonna go to Grandma's house and park at her house and then walk around in her neighborhood.
I picked this one. And I picked this one.
Both my parents live in a small town in Northern California. They live about 5 minutes from each other. So when we come to California, we like to stay near my parents. We found a house to stay at that's literally right in between my mom and my dad's house. So we're gonna be here all winter. We're gonna enjoy being stationary. There's a place to park the Airstream. We're just gonna soak up all the fun stuff about staying in a Sticks and Bricks. And I'm really excited. We love being in the Airstream, but we also like being in this house. There's a lot of things that we can do here that we don't get to do in the Airstream, like take a bath, use the oven. It's these simple little things in a Sticks and Bricks that you take for granted when you're in a Sticks and Bricks. But when you spend the majority of the time in an Airstream like us, staying in a house every once in a while just feels so good. For me, one thing that's definitely easier in a Sticks and Bricks is cooking. In the Airstream, I probably have about 4 or 5 meals that I just cook over and over and over. And that's because I figured out how to make them with minimal ingredients, minimal tools, one pan or maybe a little pot in one pan, and definitely minimal counter space. But there's all these things I love to cook that take up a ton of space, have a ton of ingredients, and that use the oven and the stove. An example is what I'm making right now, and I'm making ribollita soup, which is a bunch of stuff, vegetables. So I'm using the stove, multiple pots. I'm using the oven because I like to make crunchy croutons. We call it loud bread.
What are we making, Olive?
Loud bread.
But anyway, I don't make ribollita on the road because there's just no way I could do that. Also baking, me and the girls like to bake together, not so much because we love to eat the stuff that we make, but because the activity of baking is so fun for them. And it's also a good homeschooling activity, and it's a fun sensory project for all 3 of them. So we love baking when we're in a Sticks and Bricks. And that's something we can't do in the Airstream. But even if we did have an oven in the Airstream, there's another aspect that you have to think about with cooking, and that's cleanup. In a Sticks and Bricks, we have a dishwasher and a whole big counter that could just be dedicated to drying dishes or setting stuff down. In the Airstream, I'm the dishwasher, and if you want to set dishes down to dry, they're going to be right in your living area, taking the place of what else might be there. Cleanup is also something you have to think about when you're living in an RV versus a Sticks and Bricks. One big hack I have for RV cooking is using the Instant Pot. The Instant Pot becomes its own separate thing. I could even use 2 burners on the stove and the Instant Pot, which is like a very complicated meal for an RV. And the Instant Pot also takes the place of an oven in a lot of ways for me, because that's where I cook my meat. I'll make carnitas or pork chops or anything like that in the Instant Pot. I'll make the meat part of the meal, and then I'll make the sides on the stove. So while the past 3 months were all about exploring new places, we went all over the Pacific Northwest to different towns and cities that we'd never been to before. This next season of our lives is all about just staying in place and soaking up friends and family. I'm pretty sure Michael would be fine living full-time 12 months out of the year all the time in the Airstream, just traveling and traveling and traveling indefinitely. But for me, I'm trying to figure out what my rhythm is. I mean, you guys probably know, if you've seen our past videos, that this whole full-time RV living life was Michael's idea, and he kind of has convinced me along the way to be on board. And I'm on board now. But I'm just different from him. I have different needs and different rhythms and stuff like that. So I've been kind of trying to figure out what works for me. And what seems to work for me is to compartmentalize our life into 3-month segments. So like the last 3 months, we were doing the Pacific Northwest. And I knew that was going to be about 3 months. Like it gave some kind of like parameters to it. Because if we're just traveling nonstop forever, for me, it gets overwhelming because I feel like I'm like lost in the universe or something like that. I need some kind of time frame or parameters. I mean, everyone's different. It's what I've learned about myself. So I'm looking at this life of travel that we've chosen in 3-month segments. And while the last segment was the Pacific Northwest, I'm considering this segment to be sticks and bricks near Grandma and Grandpa. So I'm just fully relaxing into this chapter. And it's really nice living this way too. Okay, so what do I miss most about sticks and bricks when I'm in the Airstream long term? I mean, space, obviously. I miss having somewhere to just sit down where no one is gonna sit right next to me if they wanna sit down. In a house, there's enough space where you can sit somewhere, and if someone else also wants to sit, they don't have to sit right on top of you. So that's nice. The times that I miss a house the most is when it's raining. Because when it's raining and we're living in the Airstream, we can't really go outside. So we're in this tiny space all day long, unless we go on a field trip, and we do whenever we can. But if we can't for some reason, we're stuck in, 200 square feet, a family of 5. And Michael's working too. So that means, shut the bedroom door, have to be quiet, stuff like that. So that can be really hard when it's raining. Another thing about the winter months is it gets dark so much earlier. So when you're in the Airstream and it gets dark at 5 p.m., that means that you're having dinner when it's dark outside. So you're not having dinner outside. You're having dinner inside, and then the rest of the evening before bedtime is all spent inside also. One thing about Michael's personality is when he gets into something, he gets really into something, like RV life,
One thing that I'm always working on is trying to simplify our RV operation. So today is the day I'm going to be drilling a hole in the Airstream. This is the crazy monster that is going to help me do this job.
He didn't want to just go on the weekend or go for the summer. He wanted to just go forever. So lately he's gotten into swings for whatever reason. So he bought, I think, 4 different swings, and he's installed them all over the place. So we have a lot of swings in this house for the kids to swing on. And it's been really fun. I'm not complaining. It's just lots of swings. You got to jump off the couch with the swing. I want to show everybody. Here we go. Whoa!
That's how quick I got on the swing.
That was awesome. The kids have a lot of indoor space to play in. So if the weather's not good, it doesn't even matter because they can literally run around inside. There's definitely a method to Michael's madness, and everything that he gets into, it's for a legitimate, deliberate, usually really positive reason. So for the swings, I think it started out because Maple is kind of sensory seeking. She's always kind of in motion somehow. Like if there's a rolling chair in the room, she's rolling on it, stuff like that. She's always seeking a way for her body to be moving through space. So Maple loves swings. She could be in a swing all day long. She could eat dinner in a swing. It's just Maple loves swings. So we knew we were going to get a swing and install it. Turns out there's a million different kinds of swings, and they have all these different benefits and all these different uses. So there's a ladder swing. The kids can literally be climbing up a ladder while they're watching a show. If they're gonna be watching a show, they might as well be exercising and, improving their balance and core strength and all that while they're watching a TV show. There's also a cocoon swing. And if a kid is too stimulated or, needs a little timeout, a little chill, they can go in the cocoon swing and just kind of rock around, and it's very comforting for them. So we got one of those. There's a spider swing, and that more than one kid can get on the spider swing and play. So that's outside, and that's pretty fun. And the way he installed the hooks, we can take out one swing and put in another. And it was so nice being around family for Halloween. I mean, Halloween on the road was really fun too. We were in Texas last year at a full-time families rally, and that was a blast, don't get me wrong. Nothing compares to trick-or-treating with Grandma. It was just so much fun. The girls loved their costumes. They had their costumes in their theme colors, Maple's red, Linden's blue, and Olive's green. And it's really fun for the kids to knock on doors and kind of see people's different setups. And also a lot of the houses were decorated, and the kids just, they love that. They love when things are a little bit spooky, not too spooky.
Is this the spookiest thing ever?
Let's see the spookiest thing ever.
Okay.
pretty spooky. Michael's really into science education for the girls. That's one of the reasons why he wants to be on the road in the first place, because, you know, we can go to all these great places for educational purposes.
Just by nature of the fact that we're camping outdoors in nature so often, that really gives us access to teach a lot of the concepts about nature. I think it's great that they've had direct access to so many different types of features on Earth. Just looking back at all the places that we've been in 2 years, they've already been able to see the oceans and rivers, lakes, mountains, deserts, rainforests, prairies. I feel like that's given them the opportunity to really generalize some of these concepts. But the way I like to teach is to follow their interests, and I never know what that's going to be, so I never know what supplies I'm going to need. As an example, we have this book of experiments that Linden loves to pick from. Each experiment calls for about a half a dozen different items that you need. Most of them are household supplies, but in an RV, we just don't have the full set of household supplies because we're always trying to minimize everything that we carry. So for example, the other day she wanted to make slime. For that, you need a large amount of Elmer's glue and borax. So stuff like that we can have in a stationary spot. It's not impossible to carry specific supplies like that around with you if you know what you want to do, but my whole thing is I want them to do any kind of experiment that we can think of. So those kinds of things will be a little harder to do in an RV. I'm really interested in teaching the girls physics and chemistry concepts. To do that, we need to do a lot of experiments, and it helps to have a lot of models and toys and supplies to do stuff like that. So I think I'll have a better time teaching the girls those kinds of things when we're in a stationary phase. Want to do an experiment?
Yeah.
Okay, Maple, are you ready? How about we mix
Blue and red.
okay, it's a blue one, and here's a red one. You want to do red or blue first? You want to do red or blue first?
I want blue.
Okay. What color is that making?
This is maybe pink and this is maybe purple.
Wow.
Purple and pink.
Wow.
So beautiful.
Yeah. Good job, Maple. You did it. Do you want to do a different one?
It's almost making this purple.
Yeah.
Now the blue looks.
Ooh.
Beautiful.
Dip it in the soap. What's going to happen?
Beautiful purple. Is this food coloring poisonous?
No.
Oh. Is it yummy?
It doesn't really taste like anything. It's just for coloring.
Can I do another experiment?
You want to do another experiment?
Yeah.
Okay, stay right there.
Okay. Ooh, Olive. Oh.
Did you see that, Olive?
Yeah, I did. When you take off your hands, it goes. And when you take on your hands, it does not go.
What's that called, Olive?
Even though it's a big house and there's lots of bedrooms, everyone could have their own bedroom. We're actually all staying in one bedroom together. The reason is it's just what we're used to. You know, in the Airstream, as we're falling asleep, we can all hear each other and we tell stories and stuff like that. And it's just what our family is used to. So when we got into this house, the first couple of nights we were trying to figure out where people were gonna sleep. Like, was Linden gonna sleep in this bedroom? Is Mabel gonna sleep in this bedroom? No, that just didn't make sense for us. So we ended up pulling in the mattresses from the Airstream, putting them on the floor of the biggest bedroom here, and then we turned the walk-in closet into a bedroom for Maple, because Maple's the most independent of the kids. She likes her own little space. And in this Sticks and Bricks situation, that means the walk-in closet. And that gives us other things to do in the other rooms. Michael gets to work by himself in a room, which is like amazing for him, because in the Airstream, he's on a standing desk by the bed, and we're in there too, so that's not very much privacy we're used to 200 square feet being our home, so we almost don't even know what to do with the rooms in this house. So we've had a lot of fun experimenting with how to use the space here. Another thing that's really different, daily life, living in an RV versus living in a sticks and bricks, is cleaning. With this one, the RV totally wins because cleaning a house, as most of you know, takes a while. There's lots of different rooms, dust accumulates, there's vacuuming, mopping, sweeping, there's all sorts of stuff to it. Really, sometimes it feels like you could just be cleaning all day in a sticks and bricks and it doesn't actually get clean. But living in an RV, it's completely different because you can literally clean your entire home in about 15 minutes if you want to. And I'm not exaggerating. Like, I just kick the kids out, have them go play outside, and I go to town as fast as I can, and I'm done in 15 minutes, and our house is clean. And that's amazing. So sometimes when I'm in a sticks and bricks for a long time, and I'm, cleaning day in and every day I'm cleaning, I start to wish for the Airstream again because of that one aspect.
What happened here?
Oh, Olive eating lunch. Half of it ends up on the floor.
Whose birthday is it?
Mine.
What are you guys making?
Cake.
How old are you?
Not 2, I am.
Oh, I remember. You're 3. You've been 3 all year. You're 3, right? You're always 3. Yesterday you said you're 3. So today you're 3. You're still 3.
I was 3 all day.
You're 3 all day. How old are you now? Today?
4 comes after 3.
Happy birthday to you.
Can I blow some?
Make a wish. And then
blow
put it together.
Okay. Yeah. No, I win. Mom, is this frosting?
Yeah, I
wanna
melted
eat
it
a
and then
gummy
poured it on
bear.
there. But if you don't want frosting, I have a cupcake with no frosting for you and ice cream. Show Papa and tell him how old you are.
4.